As is the tradition in the city of Cambridge, the annual CityRun road race marks the unofficial beginning of spring. This year was no different, despite weather conditions that reminded us more of a mid-December morning. But the weather couldn't stop this special 30th anniversary edition, which would also mark the ending of race director Paul Ryder's reign at the helm.
Good morning. My name is Louis DePasquale. I'm the Assistant City Manager for Fiscal Affairs, and I'm happy to be involved today. I'm going to be doing some interviews for this event. This is the 30th year of the Cambridge Road Race, and Paul's been involved in all 30 of them as the lead. And Paul, welcome. And I know it's been a crazy morning already. We haven't started the race yet, but you woke up to a snowstorm. And what was it like getting ready under those conditions right out of the gun?
Well, we knew we were going to be tested today, but the great thing is I have a wonderful staff that step up to the plate. Keith Fay and the Danny Park crew were out here coordinating with John Nardone this morning, making sure all the roads were plowed and sanded. So I knew we were going to be in good shape once it did stop. Not much we could do about the wind, but I think that we're going to be fine once the race starts. The forecast is improving rapidly, but it was a tough start today.
Paul, I think you started this race 30 years ago. Why don't you talk a little about the first race?
So the first race had 200 runners, and I think we lost money instead of raising money for charity that year. But now, 30 years later, we give funds to Friends of Cambridge Athletics, the Andrea Harvey Memorial Fund, and our Special Olympics program through the Cambridge Recreation Department. In the last couple of years, we've been raising about $20,000 each year.
That's great. And Paul, why don't you talk about some of the highest numbers and maybe some of the lowest numbers of races so people can see the range of an event like this?
So like I said, first year 200, and I would say about 4 years ago we were close to 2,000. So it's been a great addition. I think having Marathon Sports involved, this has really helped us. They are handling the registration and getting the word out to runners in a variety of different ways. So we've really increased the number of runners. In addition, the Andrea Harvey Fund, which raises funds in memory of Andrea, who was a Cambridge resident and a teacher in East Boston who unfortunately was a victim of domestic violence. They get a ton of high school walkers from East Boston that come every year. They had 3 busloads that coming in today that will walk in her memory. They do the 3-mile walk. And also the high school teams really have stepped to the place from Cambridge and Gelatin. Baseball, lacrosse, their crew program, their girls softball, all come and they walk today in order to raise funds for Friends of Cambridge Athletics. And also the Cambridge track team, which is world renowned, comes and runs it every year. So they've all been great.
And as you can see, Paul's phone's ringing off the hook as we're getting ready to start this race. So Paul, why don't you shut that off? It's okay, we know how busy he is, but for the next couple of minutes, we're not going to take any calls. So I know that's going to be hard. And Paul, as I look at the program, I also did see there's a memory in the back. I want you to talk about that.
So 2 guys that are special to us. So Les Kimbrough, who was really started the relationship with the Andrea Harvey Fund. Les was a teacher at the high school. Unfortunately, Les passed away a couple of years ago, but he was the one that really started getting the Andrea Harvey folks involved and really working with, at that time, Councilor Henrietta Davis in making the 3-mile walk a big success that it is today. Joe Souza had been with me from the very first start. Joe was former track coach at the high school and a teacher at Cambridge and Gelatin Elementary School. Fortunately, Joe passed away a number of years ago, so I feel it's just a little tribute to dedicate the program and the road race to those 2 fine gentlemen and their families.
Oh, I think that's great. And Paul, also I think you talked briefly about the high school, but his role as recreation director, I think you've really brought the City Human Service and Recreation Department and the high school recreation together. I think that's a real nice step. Why don't you talk about the relationship?
Yeah, I think we've really bonded. We really have developed a strong relationship that will go on beyond my years. You know, the new athletic director, Tom Maria, and myself and my staff, Bobby Goodwin, Adam Corbiel, Kevin Clark, will all work very, very closely with the athletic department. So there's a relationship that's going to go on forever and something we're quite proud of because it's, you know, I think that anytime that we can benefit the kids of Cambridge, that's what our job is.
A little later today, we're going to talk to some of the Human Service employees and Ellen Semenoff, who's the head of the department, about the involvement of the city departments, but especially Human Service. And I know it's going to make you feel great. the commitment over these 30 years your department has had in terms of volunteering to help on this race.
They really have. They've stepped up from the very first day of designing the programs to being here today. They used to do all the registrations. Like I said, the Keith and his crew have been here today getting everything ready. Golf course staff making sure that we have vehicles. So really every part of our division steps to the plate, every part of human services. So and Leanne Ellis here today who's doing registrations. So they from registrations to plowing the roads to being out on the roads, making sure everyone is safe. It's just a great effort that the entire department does. And that's the way our department is, always.
And as I look at the program, I'm not going to get into all the departments, but also to see 12 city departments also contributing to this. It's going to make you feel good.
And they all volunteer their time. Traffic, public works, auxiliary police. We couldn't do this without auxiliary. Cable TV, city manager's office, city council. Everyone steps to the plate and plugs this because they know it's to be, unfortunately we wouldn't know today, but it's typically the beginning of spring. So, and that's what I think everyone tries to think. This is a great thing to start off the spring season in Cambridge.
So Paul, I know how busy you are. We're going to let you go. We're going to see you after the race. We're going to talk more, but thank you and get out there and do a good job today.
Thank you, Lou.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Paul Ryder, as the director of this event, gets a lot of credit, but as you can see, to pull an event like this off, it takes a lot of volunteers from city departments. And with me here are some volunteers from the Human Services Department. We're going to have them introduce themselves, talk about how long they've been working at Human Services and how long they've been volunteering for this race. So why don't we start right over here first.
Hi, I'm Leanne Ellison. I've been working for the city for 22 years, with the department 14. And Paul Ryder is an amazing organizer of this event. He pulls it off with a lot of grace, and he comes back the week after very energized because it's been such a great event. And so we're always happy to help him out.
And one quick question, what assignments has Paul given you through the years in terms of working on this event?
Basically sitting at the desk checking people in. He knows to do only people work.
My name is Richard Slater. I've been with the department for 5 or 6 years. I've been volunteering here 3 or 4. This might be my 4th year. Kind of work for Paul, so it's pretty much assumed that you'll turn up. I've done everything from handing out t-shirts to checking people in, running around with the camera, taking photos, getting coffee. Anything needs to be done, drop of a hat.
Excellent. We're going to skip over this person for a second. We're going to go right over here.
Hi, I'm Sarah Rocks. I've been volunteering for the last 3 years. I've worked for the city for 3 years. I hand out t-shirts, I help people sign in, and it's a great event.
Thank you. So this next person is actually Mr. Ryder's boss. So we're going to have him introduce herself and tell her what she's been doing over the years.
The secret's out! I'm Sue Walsh. I'm the Assistant Director for Adult and Family Services, and I've been working for the department for 19 years and have been volunteering at this event for 3 years, which is about how long I've been supervising Paul. So as Richard said, if you're in Paul's universe, then you're going to show up on the Sunday morning. So it's been it's a wonderful event, and what a surprise to have snow in April. It's the last April Fool's joke for Paul as he moves on to the next phase of his life.
And we all know that sometimes Paul can get a little stressed up. So how's Paul been like the last few days before the race? Has he been his typical self, or does he seem to have a little more pressure?
He seems to have a little more pressure on him. He's kind of like darting from here and there at 51 Inman Street, and then you don't see him for a while, and you're wondering what's going on. But this is what's going on.
And I think there's 4 people here from Human Services and from the city, but roughly how many people from Human Services would you say is involved in this race? Because to me, it's pretty amazing the turnout by city departments in an event like this.
20? Easy.
Yeah, at least.
So I mean, I think that says it all about a race like this. It's the city employees coming in, knowing what it means to Paul, knowing what it means to the city, knowing what it means to the school department to help fund some of the programs that make this a special event. So I know, speaking for Paul, I want to thank everybody here today because it's been a great day, and this is Paul's last year doing this race, so it's even more special. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we had earlier Paul's direct boss, but now this is the big boss. This is the Assistant City Manager for Human Services, Ellen Seminoff. Ellen's been involved in this race for a long time, and Ellen, great to have you here. We were talking earlier about how Human Services especially all pitching to make this race so special.
Well, it's been, for all of the years that the race has been going on, different parts of the department have joined Paul in staffing the race, helping to give out the t-shirts, doing the registrations, and just staffing along. The money that gets raised by this race helps support critically important programs, the Special Needs Recreation Program, the Friends of Cambridge Athletics, as well as the Andrea Walk. So this is an important program with lots of volunteers here critically to support it.
And as someone who knows Paul as well as anybody, when you saw the snow coming out this morning, how did you think Paul was going to necessarily react to that?
Well, I actually had no doubt that Paul had planned carefully and was quite certain that he could manage it. And as typically happens when snow is threatened or when it comes, Paul and I text fairly frequently. And when I texted him this morning to say, everything okay, he sent back a text saying perfect.
So, Ellen, I think that you've got to feel proud to see so many members of your department be involved in a race like this.
Well, I am. And I think that this reflects the spirit of the whole department. As you can imagine, individuals who come to work for a human services department, whatever their job, whether they work in fiscal or personnel or direct service programming, are people who give their heart to whatever they do. And this race, both because it supports healthy living in Cambridge and because it supports critical programs, brings out so many of our staff to support it.
And Ellen, Claude Jacobs was here earlier talking about all the work that you do in line with the health department, but Human Services, for those who don't know, is a large department that has a variety of services. Recreation is a piece of it. We don't have all day because there's so many, but maybe you can briefly talk about all the things that Human Services does in the city.
All right, well, thanks, Lou. We actually start, as Lou knows, from before children are born. We work with parents to help support them as their parents' first teachers. We work with parents and children, and then we have programs for preschoolers, we have programs for after school, for teens, we have services for the homeless, we have employment programs, we have programs for seniors. Today, for this road race, we're in one of our wonderful youth centers. We're incredibly supported by the city manager and the city council and the assistant city manager for finance to provide incredible services to all the residents of Cambridge.
Well, Ellen, I want to thank you for being here. I think Human Services is a great department with a lot of great employees, but it starts at the top, and Ellen's commitment to the city and to this race is second to none. So I want to thank her, and we'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Okay, we have Paul back for a few moments here. The race is just finished and he is going to be back later. But when we talked about Paul bringing city people involved in this race, it's not just about city people. Paul's family's been committed to this race for a long time too. And Paul's wife actually ran in the race. She's not with us right now, but I've heard she finished second, so we want to give her a little plug.
Second in her category, which is great for her. The first race that she's ever raced this far, 5 miles. So yes, she second place in her category.
So
great.
Congratulations to Sheila.
The family will present her a trophy to her later. This is my daughter Alex and my son John. They have been here at every single race. Well, not everyone, but because this is the 30th and not 30 yet, but they have always been a big supporter of this and my efforts to do this. So it's a family event.
And we haven't mentioned this yet, and we mentioned it in the closing, but this is also Paul's last race. Paul's been with us for 34 years, and he has decided to retire, and we wish him well. But we want to talk to people over here to just talk about what it's been like in this race and what it's been like to have your father work for the city all these years. So we can start with you.
It's great having my dad work for the city. I've got to meet a lot of great people over the years. They've become even closer than friends, some even family, and I'm just thankful that I've got a chance to be a part of all of this.
Yeah, we've come a long way with this race, from handing out hot dogs and cups of water in the beginning to now this, and there's actually food and bottles of water.
So now we're going to ask you the real question. What was he like when the snow was, going pretty heavy at 7 o'clock this morning? Was he composed, or was he ready to just...
I'd say pretty composed. for all the snow and what you would expect, Paul Ryder was pretty composed.
Typical race morning.
Well, I think after 30 years, Paul has seen it all, so that's helped him handle an event like today when you wake up and you're saying anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of snow on the ground. So, Paul, it's going to be special, though, to see your children here, as you said, growing up right with this race with you.
It is. It's a Ryder family tradition. So even though I won't be the recreation director next year, we will be at this race to help out in any way we can. So.
As we said earlier, the way this race has grown and the way this race brings the community together and the way this race helps so many places to put some extra funds, it's something that you can really, really be proud of, and I'm sure you are.
Thank you, Lou. I appreciate that.
As we said earlier, this is a great event with a lot of volunteers, but the real key players in the event are the runners. We're very fortunate here to have the first place winner today. We're going to ask him to introduce himself, and we'll have him talk a little about himself. So, welcome. Congratulations.
Thanks very much. Thanks for the race. I'm David Wilson. I grew up down the road in Brookline, ran for Brookline High. So I've been at the sport for quite a long time. Went and ran for a few years at University of Virginia before coming back up here. And I've done this race 3 years in a row. Always like it. It's a great way to sort of get out and start the season again after a long winter.
So this is your third year, and if you won it in the past, or is this your first victory?
No, I won it the other times as well.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. It's a good time. And he's giving his college a little plug there. He's got his shirt on. It's, you know, but you mostly run 5-mile races? Or?
Yeah, so a lot of 5K, 5-mile, 10K kind of stuff. I'd like to do a marathon eventually, but I haven't worked up with it yet.
And in a running season, how many races would you run?
Maybe a dozen, maybe 20 if it's a really good year, but yeah.
And for those who don't know, we had a little snowstorm this morning, but the snow actually stopped at the time of the race. But in running in those kind of conditions, it was windy, I guess it might have been a little slippery. What was it like out there on the course?
Well, I mean, I got up and, 7 or 8 o'clock this morning, snowflakes coming down sideways. It looked pretty grim out there. But by the time we were running, it wasn't too bad. It was blustery, it was slippery roads, but it could have been a lot worse.
So, as a person who's run a lot of races, what do you think some of the pluses of this race, of course, or just some of the things about it that you like?
Yeah, I like it because it's pretty low key. It's not your Boston Marathon where you've got to go through all that hassle of drumming around with 30,000 other people. But it's well organized. You get some competition. It's a fun race to come and do.
Well, we want to say congratulations. We want to thank you for giving us a few minutes. I know you're going to be getting a trophy soon, so congratulations, and hopefully we'll see you again.
Well, thanks very much.
Thank you. It's a great day, but some of the people that really make it a great day are the runners, and it's always nice to have the runners take a second to talk to us. And this is the first place finisher. We're going to have introduce yourself. We're going to talk a little bit.
Laura Opachinski.
And Laura, how'd you find out about the race?
I was just looking for a tune-up before Boston.
And have you run this race before?
No.
Oh, so it's the first time.
Yes,
so what did you think about it? What was it like? I know the conditions were a little crazy with the snow today, but overall?
I've run a fresh pond before, so I really like fresh pond. So the course was nice. It was a good last race before Boston.
And have you run marathons before?
I have.
Oh, and when did you run?
I did Boston a couple of years ago just for fun, and then I've run Bay State at Hartford the last 2 falls.
Oh, congratulations. And I'm going to guess did you run in college?
No, I just started running a couple of years ago.
Oh, wow. Great. Now, as a non-runner myself, is that unusual, or is that a lot of people do running?
I did actually coach to 5K, and then I kind of started liking running, but most of the people I run with are in college. So.
Yeah. And especially if they're winning races, I would think. So, a lot of 5-mile races, or?
I like distance more, but...
So, like, in a normal season, how many races would you run?
I usually do like 1 maybe.
Oh, that's great. Well, I just want to say congratulations. It's quite an accomplishment, and I'm sure you're pretty proud of yourself. Did you think coming into this race you had a chance to win?
You never know who's going to show up, so I just wanted to have a good race.
So is this the first race that you've officially come in first in?
No.
Oh, no. Well,
this year, though.
Oh, this year? Well, great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you, too.
Thank you. With me right now, to my left, is longtime school committee member Fred Fantini, and to my right, Spike Bennett, a friend of Paul Ryder, who I believe this is Spike's 23rd time running this race. But we're going to start with Freddie. Freddie is an elected official. I know this is a special event, and it's great that Cambridge has elected officials at events like this, always supporting the city, and I know you have someone who's at almost everything when you can be at it. So great to have you here today.
Well, thanks,
Why don't you
Louis.
talk a little about the event?
Thanks, Louis. So this event has been going on for 30 years. It's really a great event. I enjoy seeing, I enjoy seeing our kids from the high school run. And I used to run, and now I hand out T-shirts, as you can see, and that's kind of what I've been relegated to. But it's not only just a race, but it's a community race. The benefactors for this, some of the funds go to our friends at Cambridge Athletics, and some go to the Andrea Harvey Walk, which is Andrea had passed away, and her mother works for the Cambridge School Department as a family liaison. So it's just a wonderful family. and it's the way the city does these events that really create a community for this city. So it's you know, in addition to a race, it's a community event where we come and greet each other, and it's got to be a very special time for Cambridge residents. And even today, as close as it was, we had probably you know, at least 300 people, I think, today extra came and registered to vote on this wintry day. So it was just a 30th great event.
Mr. Bennett's over here. This Spike 23rd year.
23 times. I mean, I'd skip sometimes with running the Boston Marathon. Sometimes I would come up instead of this, but I've always had great memories. And Paul Ryder's always done a great job of bringing Cambridge together and bringing people like Freddie in. Freddie's been a great supporter of youth sports and youth activity for a long time, including Cambridge Old Baseball. It's always great to be with him.
Ian, how'd you do today?
I think I broke 35. Not bad for my advanced age.
And under these conditions, Spike, what's it like running? And we had some snow today, for those who didn't know, and it's pretty windy out there. And how'd you do in terms of the conditions, would you say?
Lucked out because at least the sun came out enough and it melted everything. And the wind that I feared was going to come hasn't come up too bad yet, but here it's coming. But it was relatively good.
Excellent.
It could have been worse.
Well, Spike, I want to thank you. Spike's not only runs, but he coaches Little League. And again, I think it's about people who live in the city committed to doing the extra thing. And we have two gentlemen here to do that. So I just want to thank them both for being here. And I'm sure we'll see you later on today. Thank you. So, again, the key people in this race are the runners. And with me here is someone who's run this race 3-4 times. I'm going to have him introduce himself and tell everybody who he is and tell them why this is a perfect race for him to be running.
Thanks, Louie. I'm Claude Jacob. I serve as the Chief Public Health Officer at Cambridge Health Alliance, and I have the honor of running the Cambridge Public Health Department. So this is my 4th time running this race, the 30th annual, but this is also the kickoff for National Public Health Week. So each year I have the chance to come out here. This year I got to run, walk a little bit, run a little bit more, and so I've had a load of fun with everyone out there. So National Public Health Week, we are trying to be the healthiest nation in a generation, and so it's running from April 4th through April 10th, and this is a good way for me to jump in and do what I've been talking about for many, many years now.
And I also think in the past you've had some family members maybe participate in this event, Claude?
Oh yeah, my wife, my kids, you know, they come out here. We've made it a festive event over the years. This year I was doing this solo, but just know that this is a family affair, and I see plenty of Cambridge families out there. So it's loads of fun for all of us who are trying to do some more about healthy eating and active living.
And I think as we talked about how different city departments come together to make this race successful. I know Claude from the Health Department and Ellen Swinroth from the Human Services Department work closely together in a lot of areas. And why don't you just talk briefly about how health and human services has all come together?
Yes, thanks, Louie. So this is just one example. We've had a strong partnership with the Department of Human Service Programs. We also have strong partnerships with the schools, with community development, with police, with fire. And so just know that as part of the work we do on the ground, we run over 30 different programs out of our department that run around the Children's Literacy Initiative, men's health programs. We do a lot around emergency preparedness. We work very closely with a number of the schools and the human service programs through the support we provide from our nurses. And so just know that this is one example of the partnership, the strong partnership that we've had with the city.
Well, Claude, thank you for running. Thanks for all you do with the health department. We really appreciate it. Good to see you.
Thanks, Louie.
So we're back for the closing. We've brought Paul back for the 3rd time, and with us now is David Kale for the 1st time, and David's been a long time volunteer for this race. So we're going to start off with David. David, how many years have you been involved in this race, and what you do today?
Today, my job, like it has been for many years, is to be Lou DePasquale's prep person. I line up the interviewees, I give him the names, and he looks like a hero. So that's what I did today.
And David, what are some of the highlights over your career in this race? You've seen a lot of...
I'd say this is deja vu this year because when this first started 30 years ago, we used to be in the golf course parking lot in a bandstand at the end of the race, and we used to be in March. And it was as cold as it was in the early days and had snow. So it was fitting for Paul's last road race that we had conditions like it was 30 years ago.
And David, I have to ask you, a green CityRun shirt, there's a reason why we're wearing these today. Why don't you talk a little about your jacket there?
After we did several years of announcing and helping, Paul was generous to give some folks jackets, and I'm not a small person, so this is the only size the jacket came in, which is green, which is a double X. So that's the reason mine's green.
And Paul, how long ago did we buy these jackets?
These are classics. These are probably 20 plus years ago.
And we've kept them, and we went up for this race.
And we can still fit in them.
We can still fit in them, which is the key. Yeah. I know we spoke to Ellen earlier, but Ellen, there goes Paul's phone again. Even though the race is over, he's still in demand. Ellen, you've been involved a long time. Why don't you just say a few words about what this race means, and also what it's been like to work with Paul for all these years?
Well, in some ways, I think working with Paul and the race are somewhat similar, which is to say that they both have grown and changed over time and yet stayed true to this incredible core. Over the years, bringing in marathon sports, changing from hot dogs to healthy snacks, building the relationship with Whole Foods, building a much wider array of partners, and that these are all things that Paul himself figured out we needed to change, and he figured out how to do it. And I would say the same thing about Paul as a leader within the department. He had a strong core from the beginning about what mattered, what things the department should be doing, and yet he was always open to thinking about how could he make everything better. And as far as a day like this with the snow, Paul is the go-to guy when something's happening, whether it's going well or it's not going well. So for me, not much is going to change, because when it snows or there's a crisis, I still have Paul's number, and I have every confidence that he'll be here next year for this race, supporting all of us, because his heart will always be in the city of Cambridge.
Ellen, I think when you think of Paul and you think of this road race and you think of the recreation department, it really doesn't show the true picture of what Paul's involved in. So why don't you just briefly, I don't want to make it say grow too big, but talk about some of the areas that recreation's involved in the city.
Well, Paul oversees the golf course. There's not many municipal golf courses, and we have a spectacular Audubon certified one, and Paul works very hard to support the golf pro and the golf course. The War Memorial Recreation and Swimming Center, wonderful classes for families and individuals, both swimming and athletics. We have an outdoor swimming pool, which is about to be rebuilt as a part of the King Open and Cambridge Street Upper School complex. And then, near and dear to Paul's heart, is the special needs recreation program that operates out of this Russell Youth Center on Saturdays for children and adults, and 3 nights a week recreation programs for adults with special needs. And this is a program that's grown tremendously under Paul's leadership and remains near and dear to his heart. So he has incredibly big shoes to fill, and we don't really expect to fill those shoes. We're just going to put another pair beside them for somebody to walk into.
Thank you, Ellen. So, speaking, just before closing, I'm going to turn it over to Paul. I just want to thank Paul for all his years of service with the city. I think Ellen said it best. He took the recreation director's position and really branched it out into so many areas, and has made Cambridge just a better place for him. He's very committed. I remember the first year of this race, and I see where we've grown now, and that's not by accident. And Paul's been able to get all the volunteers now for 30 years to grow and just feel good about today. That's a tribute to Paul and the causes we're here. I want to thank Paul for all his services, and now I'm going to turn it over to Paul for some closing remarks. Paul?
Thank you, Lou and Ellen and David, for your kind words. I think one of the major positives of working in the city of Cambridge is that folks are not only your co-workers or your bosses, but they're also your friends. So I'm here today with 3 of my friends. Couldn't think of 3 more people I'd rather be with as we close this event. So it was a great race again. Thanks to a lot of people who really stepped to the plate. We had some winning times given the conditions and everything. So it was a great event once again. And thank you all for everything you've always done for me. So thank you.
Paul, thank you for a great job, and we're going to miss you, but you won't go very far.
No.
Great job.
And in closing, I just want to say, The city manager, Rich Rossi, and Lisa Peterson wish Paul the best. They couldn't be here, but they know they wish they could be, and they know the kind of work Paul's done, and they've been here many years.
Many years.
And I also want to thank Cable TV for the job that they do. They're always behind the scenes making this event happen. So there's so many thank yous, we could go on forever. So we just want to thank everybody, especially thank Paul, and just say, great job in your final race, and congratulations and best of luck. Thank you and good night.